My approach is I don't think meat is bad for you. In fact, I think it's a superfood. And, you know, a recent study just out of Washington University just came out like 2 weeks ago saying that almost all of the data showing that red meat is bad for you is just basically shoddy research. And
why did they say it's shoddy research? Because this is interesting in that, like, a lot of people will point to previous studies that say meat is bad for you. What is the thought process?
Well, the problem with that is most of it is what we call epidemiologic studies, where they just take a large population, they ask them, hey, what did you guys eat for the last 10 years? And nobody really knows. I mean, nobody really keeps accurate records. So at best, it's a guess. So you've got really poor data coming in at the beginning, and then it's horribly confounded. So it's like, well, what else were you eating with that meat? Were you eating fast food at McDonald's? Is it shakes and fries and seed oil or French fries cooked in soybean oil? Are there other factors that go on with this? You know, we see meat eaters have higher rates of auto accidents. Why would that be? Why would that make sense? It's just a confounder that we know these people tend to engage in less healthy behavior. So if you get someone like me who takes care of himself, exercises regularly, gets good sleep, and we can talk about all these other factors, and happens to eat a lot of meat, my health is generally pretty good. In fact, my health is generally better than by far the average American. And so the research, again, has been that over and over again. And the problem is the researchers say, well, that's the best we can do because we can't do an ethical study. We can't do a 20, 30-year study just feeding people this and randomizing them. It's just technically, impractical to do, and it costs too much money. So they're saying like, well, that's the best we have, so we have to deal with the data, and we just, we'll look where the trends lie. And to me, it's like, if you were to get on a plane here at Miami International Airport, and you kind of got in there and you looked and the door wouldn't shut all the way, and you looked in the cockpit and one of the pilots was drunk, and one of the landing gears broken and one of the wings is kind of wobbly, you're like, I'm not getting on that. There's no way. But this is what we accept for nutritional science. And so it's really bad science in general. It's just not a hard science. You can't take all your subjects and sacrifice them and cut them open and see what happened. That's just not what you can do with humans because it's unethical to do so. So we've got this huge 50, 60, 70 years of nutritional information, which largely is just not very good science.
How much of that is ignorance and just like bad science, best we have type argument versus there's malice where it's food companies saying, hey, we know what we're pushing, we understand, we've engineered the food to be more addictive, and that's actually the problem, not so much just like, hey, scientists are doing the best they can.
I think certainly both of those things exist. I think there's people just trying to do the best they can, just like most physicians are trying to do the best they can, but they're in a limited system. But you would have to be incredibly naive to not realize that there is a lot of financial interest in what goes into these studies. And a lot of these companies, like for instance, there is this company called Beyond Meat who makes this, I like to call it human pet food burger, right? It's ground up pea protein and canola oil and 57 other ingredients or something like that. And so they've partnered with the American Cancer Society to show that their burgers are going to lessen rates of cancer. Now, they're basically paying for that outcome. I mean, and we know that. We know that when corporations pay for studies, about 90% of the time or 85% of the time, the outcome agrees with whoever's funding them. So they know they can pay for the science, and they can measure what they want to measure, and they can spin it. Of course, we have the media that's being also paid for to spin the story the way they want to. So a lot of it is manufactured. And the problem, the nice thing around health, when people tell me like the climate is getting warmer, I have really no way to personally verify that. I can't go outside and say, well, it was hot today, it must be, or it was cold today, it must not be. I can't confirm that. What I can do is I can look in the mirror and say, am I healthy or am I less healthy? That's pretty easy for all of us can verify that. So whatever you're doing intervention-wise, you should be able to know that my energy's better, my joints don't hurt as much, I sleep better, my mood is better, my libido is better, my body composition is better. That's something you can independently verify. So this is a nice thing about that. They can, it's hard to gaslight people into although they're trying, they're trying to normalize obesity and say, oh, it's healthy and everybody should be this way. And we're promoting that there. And the problem with that is we're accommodating that, we're normalizing it, and we're creating more of it. And those people, guess what? Guess who makes a lot of money on those people? When everybody's sick and overweight, they require more medication, they require more services. Companies that benefit that those are the recipients of that.